after midnight with no invisibility cloak, one working wand, and one dog that is a liability.
Since I messed this up last time and forgot to ask, Andrew, you had opening day on Friday this last week.
Yeah, last week, yeah.
How did it go, man? You sent me a picture. I'm assuming you were in character in that picture.
Yeah, I was in the dressing room. She were like,
Yeah.
are we you were asking are we recording tonight? I was like, let me shoot you a picture. No. But it was good. It went really, really well. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The crowds were great. Like that's when it's really fun when the crowds get into it. They laugh and
Yeah.
they cheer. Like that's really good. And what was funny is I was my Jeep's still in the shop getting the computer worked on. So I'm walking to work, and I'm right in front of my office. My office is on Main Street. It's not a huge town, but it's a big enough town. And the Suburban is driving, and he slows down, rolls his window down, and goes, "Mr. Chiropractor, Mr. Chiropractor." And I'm like, yeah. And he pulls in, like he whips in to my drive there, and he gets out and he goes, "You're the chiropractor." I said, "Yeah, I'm the chiropractor." And he goes, "My wife and I come here every summer, and we love to go to the theater. We love to watch the shows. You were in Anything Goes." I was like, "Yeah, I was in Anything Goes." He goes, "It was so good. You were so good. My wife loved you." And I'm like, "Oh, thank you so much." And he goes,
that's
"Can
always
I
great.
can I take a picture with you? Can I take a picture with you? My wife's out running. She's gonna be so jealous that I met you. I'm gonna take a picture with you." And I was like, "Yeah, cool. I'm Waynesville
You've made
famous,
it to the
baby."
big time, Andrew.
That's right. That's right. Look, Ma. It was
So
funny.
the burning question: did you mess up the song?
So I messed up. So the audience doesn't know I messed up, but I did mess up the song. So the first two like little parts of the song goes long, long ago, so long ago I hardly know when. And then after that he talks about his great great grandmother. And so I started long, long ago, and then I was like, oh, I don't know the words. So I go la da 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 da. So I just like do that, and then I get I jump back in, and so didn't miss a beat. Got everything right after that. And the difficult part of that about that is we're singing, and I'm singing, I've got a solo there. While I'm singing, I also have a little dance that I have to do with the actress that I'm dancing with, which just adds a level of, I got to focus on the lyrics, the song, the music. Now I got to focus on this dance as well. And then after I finish the solo, we have about a 3-minute dance. And we go up the stairs, and we go down the stairs, and we go cross stage, front. There's a lot going on. And by the time that I'm done with that, I'm drenched in sweat. I mean, I'm very sweaty. But I do like a front handspring in it. I do a backwards roll to a handstand, turn and roll out of it. Like I kind of go all out for it. And I do some funny parts in there as well because my character's kind of the throwaway funny guy. Yeah. And so it gets great applause and great cheers, which as a performer, you're like, great. I want them to enjoy it. I want them to see it and be like, we enjoyed that. So it was all 3 shows were great. Almost all 3 of them were sold out, which typically, first weekend is never sold out because if you ever go to a play, you never want to go to the first couple because they're still working out the kinks.
Yeah.
You want to go, week 2, week 3, week 4, they've got it nailed, but you don't want them to run out of steam. So week 2, week 3
Mr. Chiropractor was in there, so.
Mr. Chiropractor. So because I was in a play at a community theater, a grown man jumped out of his car, asked to take a picture with me.
Yeah. You've made it.
Welcome
back, witches, wizards, and muggles to Squibscorner. I'm Jeremiah.
And I'm Andrew, and tonight we are diving into the new chapter of Aragog, chapter 15 of Chamber of Secrets. But before we do that, let's recap, rewind. How did we get here? Chapter 14, we met a very important recurring character throughout the series, Cornelius Fudge.
For some reason, I'm so excited. I don't know why I'm so excited about Fudge.
And so the kind of our excitement, I think that we share, correct me if I'm wrong, it's now chapter 14 of the second book, and we meet Cornelius Fudge, but for the HBO Harry Potter series,
Yeah,
Cornelius Fudge is already cast, and it shows that he's in an episode already. Now, they don't always, when shooting television, they don't always start with, we're going to shoot episode 1. Then we're going to shoot episode 2. Sometimes what they'll do is, okay, we're in this location, so we're going to shoot scene 2, scene 3, scene 7 of the first chapter. We're going to shoot scene 14 of the third book, the third chapter. Different things like that. Yeah. So it doesn't necessarily, but I don't think that they would be shooting chapter 14 of book 2. So I think we're going to get Cornelius Fudge in the first season. So Cornelius Fudge. So Hermione, and what's the name of the Ravenclaw that also got petrified? Do you remember? 3, 2, 1. Say it now.
I want to say Katie Bell, but that ain't it.
It is not Katie Bell. It is Penelope Clearwater.
Nope.
And she is a Ravenclaw prefect. And so now that Hermione, it's hitting a lot closer to home for Ron and Harry. So they decide they've got to go down and they've got to ask Hagrid about the Chamber of Secrets, about what happened 50 years ago and what's happening now. So they get down there and Hagrid opens his door. He's got a crossbow. He's obviously waiting for some situation. So they come in. They get a knock on the door. Harry and Ron hop under the invisibility cloak and they hide in. We're going to say it's a corner, but Hagrid's hut is more round, maybe even octagonal. Who knows? Yeah. But they hide over by a wall, and Professor Dumbledore and Cornelius Fudge come in. First time seeing Cornelius Fudge, and we know that it's Cornelius Fudge because Ron says, "Oh, that's my dad's boss, the Minister for Magic," and he is there because they want to take Hagrid and send him to Azkaban. They don't have any evidence that Hagrid has been doing anything suspicious throughout the year. But in pure government fashion, Cornelius Fudge says, well, we've got to look like we're doing something, so we got to take Hagrid. Hagrid's obviously very upset about this, and Dumbledore even reassures Cornelius Fudge, like, hey, bro, Hagrid has my full confidence, my full trust. It's not him. And then Lucius Malfoy shows up. Lucius Malfoy brings basically a parchment with the signatures of the 12 school governors saying that Dumbledore is no longer fit to run Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Hagrid's, like, what are you doing? Even Cornelius Fudge was like, well, look, if Dumbledore can't stop him, who did you have in mind that you think can stop him? So Dumbledore's out, Hagrid's out. Before Hagrid leaves, Dumbledore says, look, help will always come to those at Hogwarts who ask for it, and I will never truly be gone from Hogwarts as long as somebody is loyal to me. And then Hagrid says, if anybody wanted to learn about some stuff, just follow the spiders. Oh, and feed Fang. So that gets us to our 7-word summary. Lay it down, Jeremiah. What you got?
Surprise! They really did follow the spiders.
Which, knowing Ron,
right?
is a huge thing. Okay, so I did not prepare a 7-word summary, so we're gonna wing it right now.
Do it.
No Hermione, Hagrid, Dumbledore. Let's solve this.
That's pretty good for on the fly.
Okay, that was on the fly, and I want you to know my hands were down, but I was doing the no Hermione, Dumbledore, Hagrid. Let's solve this right as I was counting. So
I would expect nothing less.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not gonna come out with 8 words on this thing. All right, so now let's jump into our 7-chapter notables, and there could have been 9 in here, but 7 is what we got. So chapter
right.
notable number 1, Ernie's remorse. I think it's just a nice little character development thing.
Yeah.
Number 2, the spiders. 3, they walked for how long? Number 4, guess who's back? Number 5, agromantulas. Number 6, Aragog. Number 7, the victim. Ooh, this is a great chapter. I really enjoy this chapter. Last chapter is amazing. I also love this chapter. So, first paragraph of this chapter. Summer was creeping over the grounds around the castle. Sky and lake alike turned periwinkle blue, and flowers large as cabbages burst into bloom in the greenhouses. But with no Hagrid visible from the castle windows, striding the grounds with Fang at his heels, the scene didn't look right to Harry. No better, in fact, than the inside of the castle, where things were so horribly wrong.
So a lot happened last chapter. Now Harry and Ron have to make their way around Hogwarts with no Hermione, no Hagrid, and no Dumbledore to watch over the students. Which you be the judge if he's doing a good job.
Was he watching over the students? I think he was active, but
active to maybe certain students, not all of them,
yeah.
Everyone was feeling uneasy and afraid now that the attacks are happening again, and the headmaster has been removed. Harry and Ron weren't even allowed to see Hermione in the hospital wing due to Madame Pomfrey being overly cautious. And it makes sense. Like, Dumbledore's gone. That, I guess, I don't want to call it false sense of protection, but that sense of security, that security blanket is now gone. So, Harry constantly repeated Dumbledore's words to himself. I will only truly have left this school when none here are loyal to me. Help will always be given to Hogwarts for those who ask for it. But he wasn't quite sure how that was supposed to help him. Because which book is it that Dumbledore gets up there and talks, and I think it's later that Harry kind of starts laughing when he's talking, and he looks around and he's like, oh, no one else.
It's the first book when he goes, unless you want to die, an unpleasant death, talking about the third floor corridor. And he's like, whoa.
Yeah, so I would see how trying to make sense of Dumbledore's sentence would be like, this isn't good. I don't know what to make of this.
Because Harry, in the chapter, he's like, ask who? Who am I supposed to ask for help? There's no one here. What am I supposed to do?
Yep.
Leave it to Dumbledore to give a clue that's
it.
practically unsolvable.
Yep. Harry knew exactly what Hagrid's words meant because Hagrid says, well, I don't know, follow the spiders. So I wouldn't know exactly what that meant. The only problem was that there wasn't any spiders left to follow. Malfoy was living it up while all of this was going on. Of course, he was happy that his father was the one that got Dumbledore out of Hogwarts. He even went so far as to hope the new headmaster is someone who won't mind the Chamber of Secrets being opened.
And he's just saying this. Now, he's in potions, so Snape is there. So Snape
doesn't say anything.
Of course not. Because Malfoy's like really feeling himself. So they're in potions, Snape is there. And he even tries to suggest almost buttering Snape up. He suggests that Snape should be the next headmaster. And even Snape is like, well, now, Malfoy, Dumbledore's only been suspended. I'm sure he'll be back with us as soon as we can. Well, you'll have my dad's vote, And Snape walks by, and he's just kind of smiling.
Yeah.
And Malfoy should have stopped there. He should have stopped there, but he's in potions, so he thinks he can do whatever he wants. Then he keeps running his mouth. And he bets 5 galleons that the next mudblood dies, and then adds, it was a pity that it wasn't Granger. Oh, Ron is upset.
Yeah.
He jumps off his stool, tries to run over and beat up Malfoy, we'll say. But the bell rings, which is probably Ron's saving grace. The bell rings, Everybody gets up. They're collecting their bags. Ron can't get over to him. Harry grabs him. Dean grabs him. Seamus grabs him. It's impossible for to reach him. So Snape walks him to the entrance hall. They go outside. They got to go to herbology. So they go to herbology, and it felt different in herbology because now not only Justin was missing, but Hermione was missing. And then something cool happens. So Ernie, whom we've all grown to dislike at this point, even though what he's saying is very logical about Harry, okay, he's got reasons to think that Harry's the heir of Slytherin. Ernie apologizes to Harry. He apologizes for accusing him of being the heir of Slytherin. He goes, obviously, you wouldn't attack Hermione. Everybody knows that you guys are friends. Sticks out his hand. They shake hands. It's great. And then Ernie's like, we think it's Malfoy. And then Harry's like, it's not. They're like, you sure about it? It's not.
Then Ron, he's like, oh, yeah, good. What did he say? He's like, oh, good guess. Like, he said it all snarky. I was like, you guys thought it was him, too. So why are you upset?
Yeah. So 10 points to Hufflepuff if you can tell me the girl that was sitting with Harry, Ron, and Ernie at the table.
I don't see any Hufflepuffs around. I don't know.
Hannah Abbott.
Hannah Abbott. Okay.
Boom. No
I listened to the chapter.
To Hufflepuff.
I did listen to it earlier today, but I should have listened to it the second time.
Okay.
So how Harry.
Hold on. Something very important here. So Ernie apologizes, and while they're doing some of those herbology things, Harry looks down and he sees something that gets his attention. Spiders. They're not in Hogwarts. They're not in the castle. He can't find any anywhere. They're in the greenhouse. Sees the spiders. Chapter notable. Number 2.
Would you follow the spiders? A better question. Okay, following the spiders, sure. After you find out where they're going, would you talk to them or be like, yep, nope, never mind going back to the castle?
I got to be honest with you. So obviously we'll read why in a second, but they go into the Forbidden Forest at night. Harry knows that Fang's a coward.
Yeah.
Harry knows that Fang's a coward. They could have easily waited until Saturday, gone out, get under the invisibility cloak, go out, go during the day, but no. I would follow the spiders in the daytime.
Well, that brings us to this point. So, Harry can never stay away from saving the world for too long. And those spiders you're talking about, he slaps Ron's hand to point them out, which I'm sure Ron was so happy about.
He was he's like, well, we can't follow him now. We're in herbology, though. We can't follow him. Don't even think about it. We can't follow him.
Yeah, exactly. It looked like they were heading to the Forbidden Forest. Once done with herbology, they headed to their Defense Against the Dark Arts class. Man, I was really happy that we had such a long space between having to read aloud or about Lockhart. He's the best. I see what you did there. I'm keeping this in too.
I was gonna see if you were gonna go Ron Burgundy on me and just read the whole thing straight through.
No. You know what my chapter notable was gonna be? let me pull it up right here. My chapter notable was gonna be Professor Gilderoy Lockhart is back now, baby.
Oops. I don't know who typed up this script today. That was crazy.
Yeah, I'm going to read what Andrew wrote, what he was trying to get me to say. It says, man, I was really happy that we had such a long space between having to read about Lockhart. He's the worst, easily the worst character in the entire series.
I will now let you modify to how you truly feel.
I think everybody knows.
We try to have a little fun here at Squibscorner.
So while on their way, Harry and Ron devise a plan to get the invisibility cloak. Smart. And Fang, he could take it or leave him. And heading into the Forbidden Forest to follow Hagrid's advice to follow the spiders. The whole time they were like, oh yeah, let's bring Fang. I was like, what's the point of that? You already know
Fang
he's
is a liability. Fang is a liability. He is not an asset in this.
He's such a big dog, too.
Yeah.
Ron didn't like this plan, of course. I wouldn't like it either. He doesn't like spiders. And Ron had never been in the Forbidden Forest before, which is a good point to bring up. So, my guy Lockhart bounds in and wonders why the best character in this book, the best teacher that Hogwarts has, he's wondering why everyone is so glum. Lockhart believes that Hagrid being taken away was proof that Hagrid was the heir of Slytherin, and that there would be no more attacks. So just blindly agree with everything going on. That's so... Yep, that still happens. Anyways, Harry's annoyance at Lockhart made him more determined to follow through with their plan that night. Ron was definitely not pleased with that.
Yeah. He's like,
I can't believe he tried to get me to say Lockhart was the worst person. I mean, I can't believe it.
Yeah. So they plan on doing, going to the Forbidden Forest that night. But there's lockdown in the corridors. And remember, you can't leave the common room after 6 o'clock. So everybody's in there. So Harry goes up. He gets the invisibility cloak. They're in the common room, but they have to wait for everybody to go to bed, because if the portrait of the fat lady opens and nobody comes in or goes out, something's going to look suspicious.
Is it? She's just letting people in there that shouldn't be in there. I mean,
only Gryffindors.
Well, no. Now that I say that,
I'm listening.
You go into the common room and then you go to the separate dormitory. So I guess the fact that the boys' dormitory had been ransacked, it does actually make sense, because Jenny's supposed to be there anyways, but she's not. Oops. I mean, that person was supposed to be in there anyways.
Spoiler alert.
Oh.
Can't believe it. Yeah. So, anyway, the twins and Ginny, everybody is finally in bed well after midnight. So, after midnight is when Harry and Ron get under the invisibility cloak, leave the Gryffindor common room. So, now that they can leave, now they've got to navigate the corridors. They keep saying sentries, so they've got people patrolling the hallways. So they had to avoid Snape. They got really close to being caught by Snape. Finally, they get to the door, the big front door. So now they got to unlatch it, and they've got to slide out without being detected. You'd think there'd be some sort of alarm on it, but there's not. That door can just open freely without alerting anybody. And so they make it outside. So finally they're outside. They head over to Hagrid's hut, and they get Fang. Harry leaves the invisibility cloak on Hagrid's table. I don't know why he ever lets that thing out of his sight. It doesn't make sense to me. You're going into the Forbidden Forest, where things live there and hunt there. Keep the invisibility cloak on. That's all I'm going to say. All I'm going to say. So they head to the forest. They get there. Harry pulls out his wand and says, Lumos. Ron did not do that with his wand because he didn't want it to explode. He didn't know what was going to happen. So obviously he doesn't use his wand. So now they're going in to the Forbidden Forest after midnight with no invisibility cloak, one working wand, and one dog that is a liability. That's our dream team right now.
Yep.
Just to paint that picture. So now all they needed to do is find the spiders. So once they found a couple of spiders, or 2 solitary spiders, they started following them. And then chapter notable number 3, we're going to add up how long it takes them to get to their destination in the Forbidden Forest. So they followed the spiders for about 20 minutes.
That's a
Okay.
long time, really.
I thought that's a long time. That's a long
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And now at this point, they were getting pretty deep into the forest where it becomes very thick. And now the spiders leave the path. They leave the path. Now it's more difficult to follow the spiders, but they kept going. They followed the spiders for at least another half an hour. So 50 minutes now. They've been following the spiders 50 minutes now. And then Fang lets out a very loud bark.
Nope. Not a chance.
Not a chance.
I mean, you gotta. You're going into the forest. You got to think 50 minutes of walk, especially in the dark in the middle of the night.
So now it's after 1 a.m.
Well, you're going to get back to the castle. No problem, right? Right? I mean, you know exactly how to get. You've been paying so much attention.
Yeah.
You know exactly how to get
Yeah.
back.
You've been off the path longer than you were on the path. You're lost, Hansel and Gretel. You're
No.
lost.
JK is writing out a nightmare situation for the both of us. It only gets worse. They can't see anything.
No.
The forest is super thick. Fang lets out a loud bark, and then they start to hear things moving around in the darkness. Super awesome. That's exactly what you want to hear.
Super awesome.
It's exactly what you want to hear. In
the words of Nacho Libre, my life is good. My life is really good.
But the thing moving around sounded big. All they could do is wait where they were. Chapter notable number 4. Then a blazing light pierced through the forest. It was the Weasley's car. Yeah, which
Ford Anglia for the win.
I have questions. So the forest had turned the car wild, and Harry realized that he couldn't see any spiders, so he told Ron that they needed to go find them. Ron didn't move. He was looking at something about 10 feet over Harry's head, and he had a look of sheer horror on his face. But real quick, how has nobody noticed that there's a car on Hogwarts grounds? Forbidden Forest or not, nobody. Hagrid hasn't noticed.
I would love to know how big the Forbidden Forest is. Number one, because I'm thinking like national forest, thousands of acres type big.
Okay.
That's in my head because the creatures living there are being have not been found by Muggles. Right, so we're talking, at one point we've got unicorns in there, we've got giants in there, we've got agromantulas in there, we've got centaurs in there. There has to be so much space for these communities of magical creatures to be able to coexist. Yeah. So I think, so my thing, so number one, somebody's like, how is that even possible for the car to be, number one, you're reading a Harry Potter book.
Magic.
Okay, magic. It's already a magically enchanted car. Yeah. Magic. And I like to believe there's some magic in the Forbidden Forest. I like to believe that it's kind of a magical place, a magical energy place.
Sounds like it, yeah.
And I like to believe that because, this is so funny to say it, because the Ford Anglia was raised by humans in a city, I don't think that it's just going around willy-nilly. It's almost like if a house cat were dropped in the forest. I think it would like be crouching. I think it would be looking everywhere and hiding and not making itself seen. And I don't know why. Well, other than plot armor, why Harry, Ron are in such close proximity to the car at this point, but here we are.
It all kind of makes sense now that you said it out loud. But now we're going to get to chapter.
That's why we're here. That's why we're here, Jeremiah. We're here to say the things out loud.
Yeah, even if it doesn't make sense, we'll just say it makes sense.
We'll just say it makes sense.
So, chapter notable number 5. Harry didn't even have time to turn around. He heard a clicking noise, and he was lifted off the ground by something with hairy legs. Again, no thanks. He
No
fought and kicked
thanks.
as hard as he could and just had time to see Ron and Fang being lifted off the ground as well. They were taken into the trees and heading even deeper into the forest. I can only imagine how Ron feels right now. Like I could
Ron
feel the paleness.
Harry
Oh,
said that he can't even scream. And so Ron, because here's the thing. You're following when somebody says follow the spiders, you're thinking of the spiders that we're used to. Right?
yeah,
We're following we were
they're not
following
going to
little
go 50
spiders.
minutes away.
Yeah, we were following little spiders all the way here. Now you're saying there was something big enough to pick up Harry, take
Ron
him
and
into the
Fang.
trees, Ron and Fang, and now they're going deeper. So they're already 50 minutes walking deep. Now they're going deeper into the forest. So they are.
That's a situation like Hagrid. Did you leave something out?
I mean, jeez, Hagrid. So they're being carried deeper into the forest, and finally, eventually, the trees start to thin out, and Harry could see the ground. And this is kind of part of chapter notable number 5, the spiders, Agrimantulas. The ground was covered with the biggest spiders he had ever seen, some the size of cart horses. That's nightmare material. Once they got there and they dropped Harry, Ron, and Fang on the ground, all of the spiders began clicking their pincers when they saw Harry, Ron, and Fang.
No.
Then Harry realized that the spider that was carrying him began to speak. It was hard to make out what he was saying because he would click his pincers every time he spoke, but Harry could make out the words, Aragog, Aragog, which takes us to chapter notable number 6. Then, slowly, a spider the size of a small elephant, not a baby elephant, a small, full-grown elephant.
It doesn't matter. Small, big, baby, adult. Spider shouldn't be that big. No.
Came from out of a misty, domed web. All of his eyes were milky white. He was blind. Aragog spoke. What is it? The spider that had carried Ron answered, Men. Aragog asked, Is it Hagrid? The spider responded, Strangers. Aragog said, Kill them.
Nope. Well, Harry yells out something that I would have yelled out, that they're friends with Hagrid.
We're friends with Hagrid. We're friends with Hagrid, please.
Yeah.
Please.
No. Yep. Aragog paused. Okay. Hagrid has never sent men into our hollow. That sounded terrible. Hagrid has
Wow.
never sent men into our hollow before. Harry explains that Hagrid is in trouble. He explains that they think Hagrid was releasing something that had been attacking students at the school. Aragog remembered when that happened years ago. He remembered that they thought that Aragog, was Slytherin's heir.
Slytherin's heir's monster.
Yeah.
Not that Aragog was a Slytherin's heir. That was
Yeah.
mistyped by me.
And you? You didn't come from the Chamber of Secrets, said Harry, who could feel cold sweat on his forehead. I, said Aragog, clicking angrily. I was not born in the castle. I come from a distant land. A traveler gave me to Hagrid when I was an egg, and I thought, of course. Of course, someone just gave you to Hagrid.
That checks.
It does check.
That's believable. Yes.
Hagrid was only a boy, but he cared for me. Hidden in the cupboard.
Harry immediately like, bro, I feel you, bro. I judged you too soon.
Right. In the castle, feeding me on scraps from the table. Hagrid is my good friend, a good man. When I was discovered and blamed for the death of a girl, he protected me. I have lived here in the forest ever since, where Hagrid still visits me. He even found me a wife. Mosag?
Mosag, yeah.
Mosag. And you see how our family has grown, all through Hagrid's goodness. So Aragog never attacked anyone due to his respect for Hagrid.
And he said, and
I don't like his family though.
no, 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 no. And even Aragog is like, look, it was in my nature to attack people, but because of Hagrid, I didn't. I never left the cupboard.
Mm-hmm.
So Aragog, he then goes on to explain that the body of a girl that was killed was found in a girl's bathroom, and that he had never left the cupboard where he lived, and his kind prefer the dark and the quiet. So he never had any reason to leave. And Harry asks Aragog if he knows what did kill the girl. And then, the thing that lives in the castle, says Aragog, is an ancient creature we spiders fear above all others. Well do I remember how I pleaded with Hagrid to let me go. Then I sensed the beast, when I sensed the beast moving around the castle. What is it? Said Harry urgently. More loud clicking, more rustling. The spiders seemed to be closing in. We do not speak of it, said Aragog fiercely. We do not name it. I never even told Hagrid the name of the dread creature, though he asked me many, many times. All of the spiders were getting increasingly restless at this conversation, and as it was going on, the spiders were closing in on Harry, Ron, and Fang. As Harry and Ron wanted to leave, Aragog hits him with the, My sons and daughters do not harm Hagrid on my command, but I cannot deny them fresh meat when it wanders so willingly into our midst. Goodbye, friend of Hagrid.
For some reason, I like that line. Goodbye, friend of Hagrid.
Yeah, yeah.
It's so taunting and menacing. Okay, so I thought the situation earlier was a nightmare situation. This is so much worse. Everything about poor Ron. Hey.
I love Ron in the movie, who's just like,
At least they have Fang for protection.
yeah, Fang is there to trip as you try to outrun him. That's what Fang is for.
Yeah. So, Harry spun around, ready to fight his way out of the spiders. But he knew it was pointless. There were too many of them, and I guarantee he didn't know any spells to fight spiders. Just at that moment, the Weasley.
Well, he had seen in Tom Riddle's memory, he had seen Tom use a spell when Aragog came at him. He used a spell once or twice, so maybe he thought he could use that. But even in the memory, I don't think we hear Tom Riddle say the spell. I think he probably did it non-verbally because Tom's obviously a powerful wizard. So maybe he would have tried something like that. But yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
But just at that moment, the Weasley's car came crashing through the forest, knocking spiders out of the way, stopping right in front of Harry and Ron. They grabbed Fang and probably had to drag him into the car. The car sped off, knocking spiders out of the way. They were on their way to safety. After 10 minutes or so, they reached the edge of the forest. They jumped out. Fang ran as fast as he could towards Hagrid's hut. Harry patted the Ford Anglia as it backed away and headed back into the forest. Harry went and grabbed his invisibility cloak that he should have never sat down.
I don't understand.
Well, Ron was violently throwing up. So if they would have brought the invisibility cloak over there, well, I guess they would have had to take it off. I guess it wouldn't have made that much of a difference if they brought it. Would it?
It's the spiders prefer the dark. Right? The spiders prefer the dark. So, because here's the question. When Ron sees the spider hanging 10 feet over Harry, did the spider just get there, or had it been following them for a while and now they just see it because the headlights are on?
I imagine they'd been getting followed. Yeah.
I imagine that they had been being followed by the spiders for quite some time. So, yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, I think even with the invisibility cloak, they would have heard him, smelled him, sensed him. Yeah, I don't know. So, obviously, Ron is super duper upset at Hagrid for sending them in there. But Harry figured that Hagrid must have thought that Aragog wouldn't have hurt them. If they're friends of Hagrid, Aragog would have been like, cool, you guys are good here. Hagrid was wrong. Hagrid was very wrong. But one good thing came out of all of this. They knew that Hagrid was innocent and wasn't the one who opened the Chamber of Secrets last time, and they know Aragog was not the monster of Slytherin's heir. So they put on the cloak, they sneak back into the entry hall, they make their way back to the Gryffindor common room, they make their way back to the dormitory. Ron falls on his bed, Harry can't sleep, and he kind of made a fun connection. He goes, wow, the monster in the castle was kind of like a monster Voldemort. Not even other monsters wanted to say its name out loud. That's how scary it was. And he wasn't sure what the next move was. He's like, okay, we followed the spiders and we found out that it wasn't Hagrid, but that doesn't tell us who it was. So then Harry's like, I know. It hit him. Ron, that girl who died, Aragog said she was found in a bathroom. Harry, ignoring Neville's snuffling snores from the corner. What if she never left the bathroom? What if she's still there? Ron rubbed his eyes, frowning through the moonlight, and then he understood too. Chapter notable number 7. You don't think... Not Moaning Myrtle?
And I know you have something to say about this, so I'm going to let you keep going on this.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I'm very upset. So 2 12-year-olds just put together that the girl that died in the bathroom, her ghost is still there. And what do? They use really, really advanced magic to go ask her questions. Something Dumbledore could have done, something Dippet could have done, something anyone with any logic could have done. They say, oh, it's Moaning Myrtle. Let's go. So the fact that this had gone on for 50 years and the answers were in a whining ghost in the girl's bathroom and no one, not even Dumbledore, thought to go question her. They knew at that time, they knew it was Myrtle that died. And they knew that her ghost was still there. They could have easily gone and questioned her.
And the other hang up, does this negate the whole chapter? They didn't even need to go to the spiders. That did nothing to lead them to this conclusion.
It did. Aragog is the one that gave them the information that the girl was killed in a bathroom.
Okay.
They didn't get that from Tom Riddle's diary. Maybe they could have gotten it from, we don't know how long Professor McGonagall has been there. And now Dumbledore's out. So they did get the information. And I have a fun theory for you.
Let me hit the final thoughts here.
So here's my theory. Why do you think spiders are so afraid of what they know to be Slytherin's heir, the Slytherin's monster?
I mean, they have a lot of eyes.
That's my theory.
Yeah.
That's my theory. They have a lot of eyes, and they know the most, lethal way for.
And what I've
Slytherin's
seen
monster.
from animations and stuff, they don't blink all their eyes at the same time. It's all separate.
Do they blink?
So
Do spiders have eyelids?
I don't know.
Bro. You Pandora's box.
Pause.
Hey,
Look it
Google.
up.
Hey, Google. Do spiders have eyelids? No, spiders do not have eyelids.
Oh, what torture. What living hell they must feel.
Typically, 8 eyes.
Could you imagine not being able to close your eyes?
Their eyes are fixed and cannot be closed. So wouldn't that be a
That
good
makes
reason
sense. It does,
why
it
you
does.
wouldn't want to come face to face with Slytherin's monster? Because one look at it and you're dead.
It makes perfect sense.
That's my little theory.
I don't think that's a theory. I think that's a fact. I'm pretty certain on that one right there.
I like it.
Wow. All right, so join us next time for Chapter 16 of the Chamber of Secrets, rightly titled The Chamber of Secrets. Don't forget to like and share this to another Potter fan, and subscribe wherever you're listening, YouTube, whatever podcast platform you're on. And I kind of think this guy over here forgot, but I think he just now looked it up. Andrew!
No, I was still on that spider train. I was still on that spider train. I'm gonna go. Movie, Ron. But why spiders?
Squibs Corner is hosted by Jeremiah Lobaugh and co-hosted by Andrew Beecham, myself. We would love to hear from you, so drop us a rate and review. To inquire about being a guest, or if you have questions, comments, or just want to give us your Harry Potter story, email us at squibscorner@gmail.com. To watch Harry Potter merch unboxings, follow Jeremiah's YouTube, Accio Potter Guy. Lastly, you can leave us a voice memo and follow us on Instagram at Squibs Corner Podcast.